The Love Life and Lose Weight podcast will teach you the art and science of changing your habits around food. If you know what to do, but can't figure out why you're just not doing it, this is the right podcast for you. I'm your host, Advanced Certified Weight and Life Coach Heather Beardsley. I've helped hundreds of women just like you figure out how to think and eat like a normal eater, lose weight, and love life on the journey to goal weight and beyond. Hey, it's Heather. Welcome to episode 84 called Open Loops, the real reason you can't focus or follow through. So, we have some goals for the episode. I want you, by the end of listening to this podcast, to better understand what open loops are, how they drain your mental energy, and how unresolved tasks and unmade decisions and lack of follow through create the perfect environment for mindless eating or just getting stuck in other areas of your life. I'm going to teach you how closing loops, your open loops, creates clarity for yourself, a sense of control, and in actions, better follow through with everything in your life, but specifically for changing your habits around food. So, welcome. Thanks for joining me. So let's start with open loops. The simple definition of an open loop is anything that you've started thinking about, committed to doing, or that you know you need to follow through on, but you just haven't done anything with it. You haven't finished it, or you haven't made a clear decision about it. Open loops live in your mind like little browser tabs that are constantly open, constantly loading, and draining your CPU bandwidth. They take energy because your brain is such a good little worker. It's like trying to hold all these things open for you. It knows, your brain knows its job is to remind you of the undone, of the things that have consequences for you if they don't get done. And even if you're not actively in your conscious awareness thinking about your list of open loops, your brain subconsciously is always working to keep track of every single one. Some examples of open loops: the call you haven't returned. You've been meaning to call a friend because you heard something happened and you just haven't found the time yet. And your brain is just pops in with that thought, oh, you better call, Bob, got to call Bob back. It's been so long now. Why haven't you called him back? And, it just lives at this as this open tab. The trip you haven't booked, the doctor's appointment you keep forgetting to make, a conversation you need to have, or even random thoughts that just flit around in your mind over and over again. Oh, I should get back to my reading, even good things, positive things can be open loops that drain your resources in your brain. I really need to get back to lifting weights again. Oh, I haven't, I haven't been in my sauna in a while, right? Oh, it's just there, looking at me, calling me to get back in there again. These things feel like torture, don't they? These open loops. They're the weight of the undone living in your brain space. They're clutter, they're drains of energy, and they chip away at your ability to focus and follow through, especially with your habits. And let's face it, when we're talking about weight loss or body composition changes, however you want to say it, what we're talking about is establishing new habits. And when your brain is juggling the resources required of too many open loops, what happens is it's a fatigue and drain on your mental capacity and creates decision overwhelm because you feel behind and you start to feel like you're bad at following through to do all of the undone things, these open loops that remain in your brain space. And when that kicks in, your regard for yourself as not following through by doing these to-dos and handling them in a proactive way, it kills your momentum. And, I have a podcast from way back when on the importance of momentum. Momentum is so important, and open loops kill positive momentum. So the truth is, it's not you, it's your system that doesn't exist for closing your open loops. If this feels like you, okay, I'm going to say that again. It's not you, it's that you don't have a system in place, a practiced system to handle proactively your open loops. This is not like a race to close all your open loops, because the truth is, it's like a game of whack a mole. As soon as you handle some things, you get new open loops, because we know that the next step, often in a larger project, are new steps to do once you close that first step. So it's not a matter of like, oh, I have open loops and that's why I feel this way. It's that you need a system of handling them. When we close open loops, we're not trying to get everything done immediately either. We're simply deciding what we're going to do with each open loop. We know what needs to happen and when we're going to deal with it. So, in these decisions about what to do with open loops, your system should include when you're going to do it. It can be now, or you can write it down and schedule it for the future. Your other option is to let it go and just get rid of it, or you can move it to somebody else's responsibility. That's delegation. So your brain doesn't need everything resolved. I want you to really hear this. It needs a repository or your system that it trusts to handle the open loops so that your brain doesn't have to keep holding it. And that's where your planner becomes, I created this planner called the follow through planner. And a lot of people ask me, like, why do you have like the time and tasks planner so prominently in a weight management planner? Well, because time, tasks, and how you have a system to handle them directly affects your ability to handle non-urgent things like changing your habits around food, which means, what does that mean tactically? It means planning your food. It means shopping for your food. It means deciding whether or not you should eat in the moment because you're actually hungry or not. None of these things are going to be able to ever compete with the plumber is coming at 2 p.m. And real life weight changes, sustainable weight changes, hinge on an ability for you to have enough bandwidth in your brain that you have time to be mindful over your habits around food, because the business of life, that the urgent and the important things, right, have a system that is in place to handle all those things, the when and the what. So you have white space enough to deal with your habits around food and establishing new habits so you can change how what you weigh, how you eat, how you deal with food. Okay. They have to come together in a system that works. So that's why, hopefully you have my planner. And if you don't, that's fine too. You just need to be able to marry together being mindful and intentional around food and a system to handle your open loops every day, every week. It's a practice. Both of them are a practice. So we're going to go over a little bit more about open loops and mindless eating. So your mental clutter connects to your habits around food. And we sort of know this, but we don't really have words for it. So I'm going to try my best here. When your mind is chock full of these open tabs of open loops, all the to-dos of life, all the things your brain is thinking about that have yet to be done or handled, it means that you're already on low bandwidth. This is like your computer when the spinning color wheel of death comes out. That's your brain with too many unresolved open loops. And when that happens, when the spinning wheel of death comes up on your computer, which is your brain, you're more likely to eat on autopilot. You're more likely to eat to just do something. You're more likely to eat to feel a sense of relief, even when you're not hungry. Because we always will underestimate our desire to escape feeling overwhelmed and stuck. That's a computer with the spinning wheel of death, right? It's overwhelmed and it's stuck. And watching that spinning wheel of death when you know you need to do something is very uncomfortable. And that's no different than what's happening in your brain when you have open loops and you have a weight loss goal. Okay. So food can temporarily close a loop. It gives your brain a dopamine hit when you eat, and it tricks you into thinking that something has been resolved. But as soon as you're done eating, that loop opens right back up again. But this time it's a new tab. It's a new open loop. Why did I eat that? I wasn't even hungry. Now I've blown it. And now your your mindless food habits, because you don't have a system to close open loops, becomes part of the clutter. So you check out, you start scrolling, you tell yourself you'll start again tomorrow. This is a cycle I see all the time with my clients, especially high achievers and overthinkers who are already really good at handling open loops. So they take on more and more and more and more. I call it the hamster wheel of achievement. You know how the hamster eventually flies off the wheel because it's just going too fast? That's what happens to your best intentions around food when you have too many open loops. There are limits to how fast you can go, how much your brain can hold. So let's bring it back. Hopefully, now I've made the connection to why open loops really lead to mindless eating, or they set you up to be very vulnerable to mindless eating. And when you are trying to change your habits around food, that's the last thing I want you to expose yourself to. So, part of sustainable weight loss means having just as much a commitment to closing your open loops and your time and task management as you do to changing your habits around food. They are intimately connected. So, how to close open loops and feel more in control? There's a simple strategy, and I'm going to give you 3 steps for you to start shifting out of having endless open loops in your life. Number 1, do a brain dump. Take all those open tabs in your brain, all those tasks, everything that's pinging around, and you make a list. You dump everything out. Big, small, doesn't matter. Write it down. Do a brain dump. That's step 1. Step number 2 is to prioritize which loops you will close this week. So that means you've got to figure out which ones are the most important and urgent. Okay. Don't choose to handle things that are not important and not urgent, because your brain, this won't work because your brain knows what is important and urgent, which things have consequences if you don't attend to them. So just like for just this discussion, I'm just going to encourage you to pick 5 to close the loops on this week. Okay. Eventually, with more practice, you'll come up with a system of like, maybe you do 5 personal and 5 for your business or something like that. But just for right now, your first brain dump, pick 5 to close this week. That they can be easy, they can be more complicated. Don't pick any more than 5. You can have less than 5. And then for each one that you decide that you want to close this week, you're going to ask yourself 3 questions of it. Will you do it now, meaning today? Or if it's not today, when are you scheduling it? And schedule it in your calendar. And number 3, if you feel like it doesn't work in either one of those, now or scheduling it, will you delegate it or let it go? And for this, I want to give you some context. For example, like I have this, I've been meaning to paint my bedroom for a long time. It's never worth it for me to hire a painter because I really don't mind painting in my house. It's just a matter of finding enough time to like do all that because it's very disruptive to paint your bedroom, right? You got to take things off the wall and it smells like paint, right? So you need to do it at the right time and stuff. So for this one, I'm actually closing that loop over the next week or so. And I delegated part of this to my husband, who is very tall, and he can hit the top of the walls without being on a ladder. It's so awesome. So I'm going to tape the top because he's not like, he doesn't do precision, but he can certainly get it done quickly. So he's going to do like the top part of the wall, and then I do everything from like 3/4 up down. And so I have delegated it. So in the question of will you delegate it or let it go, you can be creative with delegating. Maybe you ask part of what you need to be done to somebody else and you ask them for their help and you do the rest. Or like letting it go. Like for example, for me, I've had a goal to kind of do some SEO on my website, which is definitely never urgent, right? But it would help people find me online if my website was more SEO optimized. So it would show up in results easier. And right now, I have other projects going on. So I'm not going to let it go. But what I did do was I put it way past my projects in August. So I actually have it as a to do for the month of September. So it's there for September 1 is to decide exactly how I'm doing SEO. And my guidelines for myself are it gets done somewhere between September and December, or if I don't do it this year, then I'm never doing it, or I would just hire somebody. I have 2 options, but I'd like to kind of do it myself because I'd like to learn more about it. And I think that time of year would be better for me to do it then. So that's not necessarily letting it go, but it's sort of letting it go out of the season and into the next season. So you can do that too. Things that you just don't they're not a good match for the season you're in, you can schedule them way out. And this allows your brain to detach from the immediacy of this open loop and sort of rest, knowing the calendar has it for way out in September. And I will get a reminder for it at that time so I can close that loop and close that tab. Okay. So, again, how to close loops 3 steps. Do a brain dump. Each week, you need to do a brain dump. Number 2, pick and prioritize which ones to close. My suggestion is 5. You do what's right for you. Don't aim for perfection. Just start closing tabs. Okay. Number 3, for each one you do decide to close this week, ask yourself, do I do it now, meaning today? If it's not today, you put it on the schedule for sometime in the next 7 days. Anything beyond this week goes on next week's brain dump, or you can schedule it way out in the calendar and close that loop, or you just decide, I'm tired of asking myself to do this. It's not really important. And it doesn't matter if I get it done. Okay. Now, for those of you who have my planner, you know that each week, and there's five actual weeks in July in the planner, you have a time and tasks planning worksheet at the beginning of every week so you can do this work. And hopefully you're using it regularly to help you feel more in control because you have a really solid system for the constant work of closing open loops, which is just part of the human experience, right? So that's it. Even closing 5 loops this week can feel like clearing a path in your brain. And with that mental space, you're way more likely to pause before you do anything mindlessly, never mind eating, right? You're way more likely to ask, am I actually hungry? Or do I actually need to feel less overwhelmed? Okay, if I'm overwhelmed, can I just do my brain dump? Schedule some things in my calendar and close my open loops. Maybe that's really what my brain fucking wants. Doesn't want a cookie. It wants to offload some of these drains on your nervous system and your resources and your energy. Okay. So this week's homework, brain dump, choose 5, close those loops over the next week, repeat weekly, make it a practice. To kind of reinforce what you're doing for your coach homework for closing open loops, at the end of the day, you could ask yourself this question in your journaling. Did I feel more calm and in control around food today because I closed open loops? Try to make the connection between the two. This is how you really sell yourself on a rock solid system for time and task management that helps you to create any result that you want in your life. This is one of the most overlooked tools for sustainable weight loss. You don't need more willpower. You just need more bandwidth in your brain so that you can focus on meaningful change that requires that bandwidth. So you're going to kind of free it up with your time and your tasks. You're going to lean on your scheduling and your follow through with your schedule. And that frees up that energy for you to focus on changing your habits around food. So if you're looking for a system to help you manage your open loops, you can try the 3 steps I gave you today. If you want to take a look at my planner, visit hbeardsley.com/planner and take a look at my follow through planner. It has screenshots so you can take a look. And if you want a discount code, you just join my email list at hbeardsley.com/F like Frank, T like Tom, P like Peter. If you have the follow through planner, you get to join me quarterly for live seasonal planning coaching calls with me, where we put all this into practice and you can get coached with me. Okay. So thank you for joining me today. I look forward to next time and stay focused and so long. Hey, if this episode resonated for you, then let's connect. Visit hbeardsley.com/subscribe. That's HBEARDSLEY.com/subscribe and become a VIP subscriber. You'll learn how to work with me. You'll get 2 free gifts, access to exclusive VIP content, and get a discount on the digital follow through planner.